My dad told me this trip would be an adventure. Boy, was that an understatement. It all began innocently enough when our family flew out to Lake Powell in Utah to spend a week with some of our relatives. That's me, Sean, with my cousin Dale. The first day was pleasant enough, and the 2 houseboats we rented were really cool. We had a ball swimming, diving, and exploring the surrounding canyon. Everyone was good about helping out. Although, sometimes it seemed like too much help. The first night, we had a campfire. It was a blast. That's my mom. She told me to be careful and not to do anything crazy that could get me hurt. Well, she should have listened to her own advice, because by the end of the vacation, she looked like someone who was in a train wreck. Luckily, thanks to the miracle of modern medicine, she healed pretty fast after we got home. I got to stay up real late, and when I finally did go to bed, I got to sleep outside under the stars. I've never seen so many stars. I fell asleep thinking that this vacation was going to be alright after all. Little did I know what was in store for us the next day. You don't really need a rooster to wake up on the lake. The blazing sun comes roaring over the canyon walls at daybreak, and you immediately start to feel its heat. This is my Uncle Bobby. The man is a fish-catching machine. I figured he averaged about 1 fish every 8 minutes. He never said so, but I think he was going for the record for the most fish ever caught on one vacation. After breakfast, we broke camp and headed out to explore the lake. Even though it was much hotter than the day before, the breeze from the boat moving across the water kept things bearable. Especially if you sat up front, which is where we were all sitting when it happened. I think the first thing that contributed to our mishap was that Uncle Bobby, fisherman as he was known on the marine radio, was driving his boat way too fast. Then Vinny, pizza man was the radio handle he was using, was bragging about how much faster our boat was and foolishly decided to try and pass fisherman. Well, we ran headlong into a giant wake that fisherman's boat had made, and the water started crashing up onto our deck. Instead of slowing down, Pizza Man kept the throttle wide open, which caused us to plow deeper under the waves and the boat to nosedive. Water was rushing into the cabin, and we all started running to the back of the boat. Everything was a blur after that, but I do remember Pizza Man panicking and jumping overboard. I guess Pizza Man can't swim real good, because Anna had to jump in and rescue him. Come to think of it, I don't think Anna was much of a swimmer either, but I had to admire her effort. Well, eventually the boat did right itself, and when we radioed the marina to ask if it was normal for the boat to suddenly dive like a submarine, they determined that the problem was the excessive weight of my mother's suitcase and suggested we move it to the back of the boat for the rest of the trip. When we finally got going again, there was some concern about Vinny's ability to pilot the boat. You know, as shook up as he was and all. But with my dad's habit of crashing into things when he's at the helm, it was decided that Anna should drive the boat for a while. After that harrowing experience, we were glad to find a spot to camp out for the rest of the day. People finally had a chance to cruise around for a while in the mini boat that Vinny had brought along. My dad said that was how Vinny was able to get into the country undetected. He was just joking, I think.
All my friends know the low rider. The low rider is a little higher.
The canyon walls were pretty amazing. They're really huge, and the way they were carved and shaped, I guess from erosion, was impressive. And if you stared at them long enough, you could see pictures and patterns in the stone. Some looked like animals, or birds, and some looked, well, just plain weird. After dinner, Aunt Debbie organized a hike. What I thought was going to be a scenic stroll turned out to be an assault on the tallest peak in the canyon, Diablo's Perch. They said it was unscalable, but Debbie was determined. She drove us hard, the terrain was rugged, the heat reflecting off the canyon walls was intense, and she insisted we make the journey with no water or other essential provisions. It was just us against the elements. More than a few times we wanted to turn back, but Debbie would have none of it. She called us weak and spineless. She must have been a distant relative of Captain Powell, the crazy explorer who originally mapped out these canyons. As we got higher, we passed the remains of unlucky souls who had attempted the same trek in vain. We started to have real doubts about our chances, but still Debbie would not relent. At one point, Allie, or was it Lydia? I never could tell them apart. Well, one of the twins got cut up pretty badly on a cactus and started crying. Well, Debbie said that she wouldn't tolerate a weak link in the group and banished her from the expedition. Terry decided to use the opportunity to get herself out of the trip. So we bid them farewell and pressed on. By now the sun was beginning to set behind the far canyon walls, and night would soon be upon us. We had little strength left, and our morale was low. We thought this was the end. It was then that Debbie shouted, "There it is, up ahead!" And sure enough, about 100 feet beyond was our destination. Our spirits soared as we raced to the summit. When we finally arrived, we waved triumphantly to all the ant-sized creatures far below. Like Captain Powell years ago, Debbie had inspired us to accomplish the unthinkable, although I doubt Captain Powell nagged as much as she did. Once we were through celebrating, it dawned on us that it was really getting dark, and there was no way we could safely find our way back down. But when Debbie mentioned that there were s'mores waiting to be toasted over the fire back at camp, we were back in 10 minutes. Day 3 was even hotter than the day before. It started to affect the people in strange ways. I asked my dad what Terry was doing, and he said that he wasn't sure, but he thought it was some sort of tribal rain dance. Well, if that's what it was, it didn't work. About the only one the weather didn't seem to affect was Bobby, who kept right on fishing. The stress of the trip was taking a toll on all of us, but at some point, out on the water that day, the crew of boat 1410 just snapped. They became convinced that we on boat 66 were the enemy, and at 3:30 in the afternoon of day 3, that boat 1410 launched their savage, unprovoked attack on our harmless, unarmed vessel. We defended ourselves as best we could, but they were relentless. Luckily, they all threw like girls. Speaking of girls, it should be noted that Lindsay, the trader, had jumped ships and joined with the scum of 1410. We were able to put some distance between us and the enemy, thanks to Anna's superior maneuvering skills, and retreat to the relative safety of open water where we planned our counter-offensive. We knew our attack had to be swift, powerful, and above all, a complete surprise. We decided to wait until both vessels were beached for the day and attack on land. It was bedlam. I was worried when Vinny went down early, but then managed to recover and lead the charge. My mother, overpacked as usual, was an intimidating presence. They never had a chance.
Hey, since you're not on our boat. Oh, come on! You hear that one? Kill me. Not in my backyard. Good job.
All in all, I'd say it was a total victory for us. Revenge is sweet. When things had finally calmed down, a truce was called. Dan volunteered to take people water skiing to cool people off. It worked. Wipeout. Day 4. I didn't think the planet could get this hot. No one had the energy to move, so we decided to stay put for the day and stay cool as best we could. That meant staying in the water or in the shade. Bobby finally took a break from fishing. Good thing too, because he was starting to smell rather foul. Or should I say, fishy. As the day slowly wore on, the stifling heat continued to rise. I think Vinny summed it up best.
Man, it's hot out here in the desert.
People were passing out left and right. I imagine people were just trying to think cool thoughts. Well, almost everybody. Well, day 5 had finally arrived, and it was time for us to head back. Somehow we had all managed to survive, and as a matter of fact, I think everybody had a great time. It was an awesome vacation, and I wish we didn't have to leave. I can't wait to come back and do it again. Only next time, we have to charter a couple of those fancy 100-foot house yachts. The ones that are 3 stories high with air conditioning, satellite TV and DV surround sound, a video game room, maybe an indoor pool, and room service.
I'm a survivor, I'm not gonna give up, I'm not gonna stop, I'm gonna work harder, I'm a survivor, I'm gonna make it.
Come to think of it, I never did see Bobby get off the boat. I wonder if he's still out there trying to break the record.
I'm not gonna stop, I'm gonna work harder, I'm a survivor, I'm gonna make it. I was survivor, keep on surviving. Thought I couldn't breathe without you, I'm inhaling. You thought I couldn't see without your perfect vision. You thought I couldn't last without you, but I'm lasting. You thought that I would die without you, but I'm living. Thought that I would fail without you, but I'm on top. Thought it would be over by now, but it won't stop. believing in